Hey y'all, it's Sierra, aka Capricorn Moon Goddess. I decided I'm gonna make a video about the KeKe Palmer situation. Just like, was anyone else triggered when y'all saw the screenshots? They actually released the screenshots where she had like a camera in her house, and the camera caught, I think her son's father's name is Darius. It caught Darius like while he was in the act of abusing her. I don't even know what words we could say on YouTube, but I'm not monetized right now, so I guess I can say whatever I want to say. I know a lot of people have to watch which words they use. You can't talk about abuse and all that stuff. Um, Sometimes that'll get your videos restricted or whatever. So if you hear people on YouTube or social media like talking around things or they don't want to say a specific word, that's why. It's because of the algorithm. Also, like my phone is in some, I don't have my usual phone holder, so it's like not at the right angle. So I don't know if I'm looking right at the camera or not. But anyway, let's keep going. So I was triggered when I actually saw the screenshots where you could see it looked like he was choking her. You can see it looked like he did, like she said, he threw her over the couch. You can see like her like falling over the couch. So it looked like right after he had like flung her over the couch, it looked like she was in motion. Like he didn't just like, kind of bend her over. It really looked like he threw her over the couch. And um, I know a lot of people have been talking about, well, why would she go back to him? Because the mom came out, her mom spoke and said that basically he's been abusive for a while, like to the point where her family was aware of it and they tried to make her his brother. They tried to make his brother Serranis, who was in Insecure. I think the mom said she reached out to the brother to say, "Hey, your brother is abusing my daughter." I don't know why she would reach out to him instead of his parents, but I don't know. So people were saying, well, if he's been abusive this whole time, like this is before the situation with Usher where he got mad because she was dancing on stage with him. Like apparently he's been abusive for a while now. So people were saying, well, why would she go back with him? Why would she have a child with him? Why would she do this? Why would she do that? As if we don't know how this goes. Like we know how it goes when people are, and particularly women, are in abusive relationships. Like it takes several times. They've done studies on this. It takes several times of a woman trying to leave. And they don't make it easy for you to leave, okay? We've seen so many stories of people, of women losing their lives trying to leave, trying to get out of an abusive situation where they have actually gotten out of the abusive situation, but the person comes and finds them. This is not anything new. So I don't know why people are like stuck on, well, why did she go back? These people will stalk you. If you try to leave somebody that's abusive, they will stalk you. They will love bomb you. You can change your phone number. They will go get a whole different phone number. Like, let's say you block them, they'll get a whole new phone number and be calling you from all these different phone numbers. They'll have more than one phone, to the point where you can't just block them. You have to actually get a new phone number yourself. They will pop up on you. They will find you. You have to be careful about sharing your location with all this stuff on social media. You can't be taking pictures where people can figure out where you are. Like, you have to think about all this stuff because they will stalk you. They're not going to make it easy for you to leave. And after a while, yes, they can wear you down. They can make you feel sorry for them. They can love bomb you. They can make you feel like they're going to change. Like they don't, they're relentless. They don't give up. Imagine somebody constantly beating you down, constantly like calling you, texting you all the time. Like you might just pick up one of them times. You might pick that phone up one of those times. You might answer that text one time and then y'all start talking about the good times y'all had together or whatever. Like, it's not easy to just get out of these situations. And then when people say, oh, well, file a police report, do this and that, the police can only do so much. She was lucky that she had video footage, because usually it's he said, she said. People get mad at victims of abuse for not reporting it. A lot of times you can report it, nothing's going to happen, but you just made the person even more upset because you reported them. Like, you had the nerve to report them. So you have to be strategic about what you do, even involving the police. Especially when it's situations like SA, we can't say the word, we can't say the word. I'm trying to think, how can I say it where y'all can understand what I'm saying? When somebody is making unwanted sexual advances towards you and it turns into a violent, forceful situation, that's a he said, she said situation. So I remember I had my own situation like that, and the police officer was like, well, I wish you had cameras in your house. It's like, you literally gotta have cameras in your house. That's why I said she was lucky that she had camera footage. That might be something that women are gonna have to start thinking about, like having video cameras set up in your house to catch people in the act doing stuff. Because I don't even know if we can blame people when it's a he say, she say situation and they don't know who to believe. If you don't have physical, like, bruising or something like that. Like, some of these people are smart. They're not going to leave physical bruises on you. Then what do? So we may literally have to start having cameras in our own houses, like, so we can have evidence if something goes down. If she didn't have that evidence, because people were already like, oh, well, she could be using this as a way to get custody of the child. Like, that's a whole nother thing. Child custody is being used. Children, pregnancies being used to further abuse people. If you go to any abuse clinic for women, or a shelter, or any nonprofit or organization, they will tell you that pregnancy can be used by abusers. And people will say, well, nobody can trap you. I don't know if people realize, like, they will forcefully, if you're in a situation where you're intimidated by somebody, they're physically bigger than you, they're stronger than you, they may or may not have been abusive. Even if they haven't been abusive, you feel like maybe they possibly could, they can intimidate you. You could say, I don't want to get pregnant, I want to protect myself from getting pregnant. They will be like, no. You can be like, I want you to use protection. They will be like, no. They might take it out of you might have a form of protection in your hand, and they might take it out of your hand and throw it on the floor. Like, no. And you're in the presence of somebody you're intimidated by. What are you going to do? Do you feel like getting into a physical fight with this person? Do you just give in and say, whatever, like, I don't feel like dealing with this? They may take your birth control and toss it. Then what you gonna do? This is something that happens, because if they are able to tie you down with a child, now you are stuck with them for a long period of time. Now they have access to you. And it's getting to a point where they're getting really smart now. So if you think you're about to move to another state to try to get away from somebody that's abusive and you have kids with them, you better check the laws to see if you're able to do that. Because they can try to take you to court to get custody because you didn't get permission to take your children to another state, and you're trying to start over, start a new life. Maybe you have family in another state or something like that. They're being abusive to you. You're trying to go where you're supported. You got to check the laws, because the courts do not care. If they were abusive to you and you can prove they were abusive to you, some courts do not care. They will say they abused you. They didn't abuse your child. Even though if the children see abuse, that's abuse. But they're starting to get smart now. They're starting to have women in court over custody. People say women use child custody for child support. Well, now a lot of these men are using child custody battles as a means to keep control and to have access to you, to keep being able to abuse you, to always be able to have access to you. So you have to be really, really smart the way that you move. So when people are saying, oh, you could just pick up and leave, it's not that easy. I don't know why people keep saying that. Like, we haven't seen all of the violence that's happening from women trying to do just that. And it's not just those women that are affected. Sometimes their families are affected. Sometimes their families get caught in the crossfire. And they go take the whole family. Like, let's say you leave and you go to your mom's house, they may come take your whole family out because they try to help you and protect you. Like, it's so much. This is a nuanced situation. So I don't know why people are like, you can just leave. It's not always like that. Or you left and you came back. Why'd you come back? They will stalk you and track you down. Like, it's not as easy as people think. So I'm glad that she finally took the steps that she needed to take to get out of that situation. And I know it probably was tough because she is a celebrity and people are talking about it now and weighing in on it. So now you've got, that's another thing. The embarrassment, not wanting people to think you're weak, not wanting people to blame you, because there's a lot of victim blaming. A lot of victim blaming is going on in this situation. And you also have to realize that there's mental warfare that's going on. It's not just physical. You better believe if a man is putting his hands on you, he's also verbally, mentally manipulating you and abusing you at the same time. He's telling you you're ugly. He's telling you nobody's gonna want you. He's telling you you're not gonna be anything without him. He's telling you now you got all these kids, good luck finding somebody else to take care of you and them kids. You're used up, you're washed up, you hit the wall, whatever they be saying. Sometimes that mental, verbal abuse is worse than physical abuse. I've had different types of abuse. I think the worst was mental. Because that stays with you. Once physical pain is gone, it's gone. When it's emotional scars, that stays. They have to affect your self-esteem because they have low self-esteem. They have to make you feel like you have no options. They have to make you feel like that's the best that you can do. So they're going to attack your self-esteem, your confidence. They're going to find your weaknesses and your vulnerabilities and exploit them. I talk about mine all the time. Y'all know I have eczema. That's how I started my business, my skincare business. When I get stressed out, I have a breakout right now, right here. My son's dad would exploit that when we were together. Oh, you're ugly. You have scars. Nobody's going to want you. I'm on a public platform doing a video right now with scars. Because I had to work on myself and my confidence and say, I gotta still be able to live my life. I can't let a skin condition hold me back. It's plenty of people that affirm me and tell me I'm pretty, I'm beautiful, all of that. But that one person saying something bad to you or negative to you, that sticks in your mind. Y'all know KeKe has talked about her skin condition. I think she has I don't know if they call it PCOS. She has something that women get, some with women's hormones, where it does cause breakouts and things like that. Do you think he wasn't exploiting that and trying to use that against her, to where she may have felt like, well, maybe this is the best I can do? I guarantee you he was, because they find your weaknesses and they exploit them. And she has come out, and she's one of those people where she likes to transmute things. So she's come out and showed her bare face. She showed what it looked like when she has her breakouts and this, that, and what she's doing, her journey. She uses things to share her journey. And that's what I do with my eczema. I cannot just sit in the house and hide all day. I can't say, oh, I wanted to make a video today, but I can't because my eczema is bad, my allergy is bad. Like, but you know who would tell me that if I was still with them? My abusive ex. He would say that. You sure you want to do that? Looking like that? With that scar? With that hyperpigmentation? Like, they're going to try to exploit. They need to tear down your confidence. So not only was she dealing with physical abuse, I'm pretty sure she was dealing with mental abuse. How do you think people get in a situation where they're gonna be with somebody that's harming them, physically harming them? Anyways, like, there's a lot of manipulation that goes on. It's not the smartest thing to have a child with somebody like that, but at the same time, sometimes you don't have a choice in that either. I don't think people realize how much forceful and I can't say certain words because I'm on YouTube. Sometimes women don't have a choice when they're in relationships and they get pregnant. I'm just gonna say that. Y'all can read between the lines. It's a forceful situation sometimes. And then you're confused because you're like, well, I'm in a relationship with this person. Is it possible? Like, some people feel like you cannot I hate they have us like where we can't talk. They feel like if you're married to somebody or if you're in a relationship with somebody, there's no such thing as sexual assault. Like, basically, like, you're in a relationship with that person, they can do whatever. Like, what are you talking about? Like, some people really think that. So then you're kind of confused. So you're like, well, did they realize what they did was wrong? Did they care? Did they read my cues wrong? You trying to make sure you didn't give out like mixed signals and all that stuff. So it's a lot of you reevaluating yourself. Like, what did I do to contribute to this? What was my body language? What was my tone of voice? Could I have said this different, done this different, whatever? This is how I started my spiritual journey. Dealing with not only abusive relationships, like romantic, but at work as well. Because you tend to attract it in several areas of your life. So I had to sit down and figure out what's going on here. And that's when I learned about karmic relationships and all that. And I started my spiritual journey and learning about affirmations and rewiring your subconscious mind. And people, sometimes you attract people that mirror some unhealed trauma within yourself. Like, that's when I learned about inner child healing, how daddy issues, mommy issues can show up in relationships, all that. So these relationships have their purpose. And hopefully most of us can learn the lessons from them and get out alive and safe. That's why when I do my readings and I see abuse and all that, I always tell y'all, you should leave the situation, but do it safely. I know you have to be strategic. I know you have to be safe. You can't just up and leave these situations like people make it seem. There was a story, I forgot her name. I wish I could remember. There was a documentary It was about a woman. They were trying to get clemency for her because she killed her abuser, or she had him killed. She had people kill him. He pimped her out. She was young. He pimped her out. They had kids together. He was very, very abusive. And she finally got away from him. He went to her mom's house. She finally got away from him. He went to her mom's house where she was and drug her back home. Like, so she finally had enough. She had been calling the police, this and that. They weren't doing anything. So she finally had enough. He literally forcefully drug her out of her mom's house. Finally had enough and ended up paying people to kill him or whatever. So she was put in prison, and they were trying, it was these two lawyers that were trying to get her clemency or something like that. I think her IQ was kind of low too, so they were trying to like use that to kind of help her get clemency. She finally ended up getting it after a long, long, long road, and then I believe she died not too long after that. Um, but she left. She left, and he literally drug her out of her mama's house and took her back. These people are crazy. These people are relentless. I think a lot of these people have some sort of entity attached to them, because I've experienced that with somebody personally, where I'm like, after I started getting more into spirituality, I started being able to see stuff on people like, oh, that's what's going on with you. It's not them. You're dealing with somebody that has an attachment. So sometimes you may see little glimpses of them, and they may have a little bit of empathy towards you or whatever, but that attachment, that spirit on them is so strong, it overpowers them. They can't control it. And if they don't do anything about it spiritually, you just might as well give up on them. Like, they're gonna end up being consumed by it. Um, so I don't even know if they fully know, like, what they're doing when that's why they say they black out and this, that, and the other, because it's something else there on a spiritual level. So you have to spiritually protect yourself. And you have to be smart. You can't just up and leave these situations. You have to gather evidence. Like, she had evidence. Like, it's like that movie Enough with J-Lo. Like, eventually she had to face him on her own, because trying to call the police and this and that, sometimes the police are in on it. I know one of my exes, that's a stalker, okay? He works for the sheriff's office. Like, then what? We've seen the stories about how police officers can be abusive, or how they stand behind their own. So I think what we should probably do is just celebrate the fact that she finally decided to get out, instead of focusing so much on why does she keep going back, why was she doing this, why was she doing that. Like, once you see those screenshots from those videos, like, who cares? Just be glad she got out. If you've never been in a situation like this before, thank God. But you might want to refrain from saying what you would and wouldn't do, or what she should or shouldn't do, because it's a whole different ball game when you're in the situation. For me, when I got pregnant with my son, I started taking parenting classes. And in one of the parenting classes, we learned about, what's happening in there. What are they doing while they're in your stomach or whatever? And we learned they can hear everything, and they can feel everything that you feel. As the mom, they can feel every emotion you feel. I was being mentally, verbally abused at that time. And I said, so my son can feel the sadness that I feel. the depression that I feel, he can feel that. That's when I decided to get out of my situation, and I didn't. My son wasn't even born yet. So for some of us, our children kind of snap us out of it. Like, I'm not about to let my child be in this. I'm not about to let my child witness this, see this, be a part of this, have to heal from this, need counseling because of this. When I heard like my baby could feel how I was feeling and I was feeling depressed and sad, I was like, nah, we're not about to do this. So now that she has her child, maybe that's what gave her the strength to leave. They can be an anchor to keep us there, but they can also be what is the catalyst to make us like, no, because I have a little person I have to take care of now. I have a little person I have to think about. It's not just me. So I'm gonna have to figure it out. How can I get out of this situation? We don't know all the details. We don't know the ins and the outs, but I know those screenshots look like she's telling the truth. I'm just saying. And I'm not concerned with why she was going back and why did she try to make it work. It's hard. Y'all know how you get clowned being a single mother out here. Let's not act like it ain't no thing for the whole internet to hate single mothers and blame everything on single mothers. You don't think that women are thinking about, well, dang, how's it gonna be if I'm a single mom and my child is just me in the household? And we know that there's some men that will not take care of their kids if you leave them. You either stay in a relationship with them, live in the same household, they'll help you with the kids. You decide you want to leave, oh, you on your own with them kids. They'll take care of somebody else's kids before they take care of yours because you decided to leave them and it's their flesh and blood. You don't think that women have to think about this kind of stuff? Because we do. And eventually, hopefully, you come to the conclusion that it's better to raise my children in a single parent home that's not toxic than a two parent home where it's toxic and we're fighting and we're arguing all the time. But raising a child by yourself is hard. That's not easy. So people have to think about those sort of things. There's a lot of people that will tell you they stayed married and they didn't even want to be with their spouse, but they stayed married until their children got old enough to go to college and then they got a divorce. The kids is out the house now. Let's go our separate ways. It's not just easy to make these type of decisions. And yes, hindsight is 2020. It is. But when you're in a situation, you don't always see everything. Or you may see it, but you try not to see it. You're trying to you may think you're being paranoid. So I'm just glad that she decided to get out of that situation. And I don't know. This situation was kind of triggering for me, seeing those screenshots. And I'm actually writing a book about my situations right now, the spiritual aspect of it and all that. But sometimes I'll just be like, oh, I don't feel like writing it because I don't feel like thinking about that stuff. So I need to go ahead and get that done. But this is not like a light situation. This is serious. This is heavy. And I think sometimes the internet can make us, we start discussing topics and stuff, but then we kind of leave out the empathy because we just need to give our opinion. Like, giving our opinion is more important than empathizing with humans these days. So anyway, that's my video on that. I may do a reading today, so stay tuned. I may post another video of me doing a reading since I'm already on camera. But what are your thoughts about the situation? Have you been through a situation like this? those of you that are going through this, I see it in the readings all the time. Hopefully, y'all get through y'all situations safely and those kind of wrap up pretty soon. Those of y'all that are dealing with the child custody situations, hopefully, those get wrapped up soon. I hate to see the children being caught up in all of this. But, anyways, thank you for watching. Hope y'all have a great day. Toodles.